It's your friendly neighborhood INTP, host Zachary, from Talking with Famous People, broadcasting live from the astral dimension. In this video, I'm going to talk about what things in life are worth struggling over, what type of pain you're willing to endure, and to reach, certain goals. So basically, the prioritization of certain goals and the struggles getting there. So what is worth struggling over? I think the nature of this question is definitely existential, and I think everyone deals with it in their own individual ways. Personally, I think the only worthwhile struggle is a sort of philosophical struggle, or a pursuit of truth, or I guess it could be interpreted as wisdom as well, if you want to equate that as truth. The reason I think this is because it seems to me that most people identify their goal in life to be happiness. It's not necessarily that I disagree with that notion. I think that people should take the necessary steps they think will bring them happiness. But for myself, I think the pursuit of happiness is sort of redundant. If you think about what happiness is, most people would say, it's something that you wake up and you look at your wife, or you watch your kid kick a soccer ball or some shit, or maybe you I'm not sure. I think that most people relate happiness to something within the external world, or at the least their relation to that thing in the external world. And here's where I think a lot of the issues come with pursuing happiness as an end goal. There is so much struggling you have to endure to accomplish tasks in life that you think, or you may perceive, that will bring you some sort of happiness, which is just, an emotional state. And with all emotional states, they're subject to change. I don't think pursuing happiness is really beneficial. I think the only struggle worth enduring is pursuing some sort of truth about the nature of reality. I think the reality is that a lot of people don't want to face certain truths about the nature of themselves or the universe that they may have a hard time dealing with. I think that a lot of people go through their life identifying their relationships with people, or their career, or their accomplishments as their purpose. And they never really look in depth and peel the layers of the nature of reality away and see that there must be a deeper fulfillment created, some sort of psychological foundation in which an individual can continue to function in life without falling into decay. I think that most people would consider life a roller coaster, highs and downs. They have their high moments of intense joy and euphoria, and then they have their depressive episodes of detachment from any state of happiness or the like. And it's not surprising to me, because I think a lot of people base their happiness and on the relation to the external world. If you look at the external world, it's a process. Everything within the external world is always changing. So if you build your foundation as an individual, your identity, your happiness, even though it's just an emotional state, then you are surrendering your own identity and your foundation to being subject to change as well. Since all experiences come and go, that's why so many people identify life as up and down or a roller coaster of sorts. So I think the only thing truly worth struggling over is perhaps the road to truth. And that's sort of vague and seems rather, doesn't really seem like I'm saying much there. But what I mean by the road to truth is that, at least for myself, I find that my only purpose is to try to apply any skills that I arbitrarily have because of my existence to benefit the community and society that I grew up in and developed in. So, for example, I don't think I obviously didn't choose to have any talents or abilities or any of my traits as a person, but I think I have a certain obligation to use them to help in some way. So, in struggling to find truth, it's not an easy process, and not a lot of people go through it, because in a struggle to find truth, you're surrendering yourself to operating on reasoning and things that can be things that are based around intuitive understandings, your own reasoning, logical conclusiveness. And in coming through that process, it requires you to discard a lot of the frameworks that are set in you while you're growing up, or that perhaps you've developed based on your experiences. And it requires you to detach yourself from those frameworks and be in a state of confusion and unordered chaos. This is a necessary step for any person who wants to seek deeper understanding about the nature of reality or their own life or themselves as an individual. It's an important process because it's the only way to sort of get a clean slate. Not a lot of people go through it because it's very painful to detach yourself from comfort zones, from comfortable frameworks that have been developed throughout your early years of life, or however long it is until you've come to the conclusion that your framework isn't bringing you any happiness. So I think the only struggle to me worth fighting for is coming to logical realities, to intuitive understandings about the nature of things. And the only way to really do this is to engage in a lot of introspection, to open your mind to a lot of ideologies and a lot of practices, and to engage in them, to engage in study of different ideologies, to engage in study of different perhaps spiritual practices, and to come to your own conclusions. I think that's the only way to really reach any sort of truth about the nature of reality. And I don't think that happiness is a necessary product of finding truth. I think truth is, or at least it would be, liberating, but it's not the goal to be happy. I don't think happiness is a goal to be reached. To me, happiness is an emotional state that's subject to change based on external circumstances. So I would identify the only struggle worth fighting for is coming to deeper understandings about yourself and, by extension, reality.